What's up? I am the StrongmanSteven, better known by some as Stronge. I'm here because my desire to bring more people to the fighting game genre has finally outweighed my crippling laziness. So sit back, open them ears, and get comfortable because the indoctrination starts now. Let's get straight to the point. A lot of the time when the words fighting games enter the unprotected ear holes of the average person, the first things that come to mind are likely Evo Moment 37 or Smash Bros. Maybe Low Tier God. But I'm here to tell you, dude, just look a little further, over the horizon. There's so much more cool stuff to be had. Except for more Smash Bros. You're not going to see much more of that. There's so many fighting games under the sun, each with their own ways of letting you style on there, some pretty swaggin'-ass ways. Now you're probably thinking, but Stronge, all the cool stuff takes a mountain of skill that I'll never be able to have. This is the part where I command grab you and say, yes, you can. So remember 2 seconds ago when I mentioned there's an imperial-ass ton of fighting games? Well, each one is somewhere on the scale of complexity, ranging anywhere from things as simple as dive kick to something as complicated as Killer Instinct. However, all follow a certain set of baseline concepts that once you understand, makes learning the rest of each game so much easier. You got a flat line, you got 2 dudes, you got a health bar along with some sort of meter, you got a set of basic attacks attached to 4 to 6 buttons, and you got a set of special attacks attached to certain motions and pressing those same buttons. Some of these rules vary with 3D fighting games, but my knowledge on the 3-dimensional realm is limited, so I'm going to avoid talking about those. Once you've found your character archetype and learned your individual character's moveset, you can move on to labbing. Now I believe this is one of the first barriers to entry, mostly because of neglect. Labbing is a term used to describe doing anything in training mode to find out information such as combo routes, what to do to your opponent when they're waking up from a knockdown, how to get out of certain situations when pressured, so on and so forth. I won't tell any untruths. Sometimes doing things in the lab can be akin to that of studying, since it takes a decent amount of time and usually doesn't show any immediate results. However, that's only if you let yourself look at it in that sort of light. You ever play a game like Portal where you've just been hard stuck on the same level for an eternity until whatever it is finally clicks in your head and boom! Just like that, immense levels of dopamine are released in your brain, creating an intense feeling of euphoria that can only make you say to yourself, shoot man, I'm the most intelligent human being who ever lived. It's the same feeling when you find the combo route that gives you the damage that you want, or discover what it is that your character can do to get around another character's moveset. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. And look down at those 5-fingered meat stubs that most sentient creatures call hands and say to yourself, I can do this. Because this is the second barrier to entry. Building muscle memory. All of this crazy jazz looks like it's physically demanding, and at first it might be. In some cases, it'll stay that way. But it's all about training yourself to the point that your body just knows what to do, like riding a bicycle or swimming. Once you get the motions down, all you have left to figure out is when and where to apply them. But Stronge, fighting game motions are too rough and complex for my beautiful baby hands. No, they ain't, son. Maybe back before 2009, I might have agreed with you. But as fighting games have evolved over the years, input leniency allows for a much larger margin for error. If anything, you're likely to have more trouble with knowing special cancel windows and button link timings, since those can be mildly tricky for beginners. After you have a decent grasp on the more basic mechanics of whatever game, you can start to apply the unique mechanics of said game, like roaming canceling in Guilty Gear, the V system in Street Fighter V, Overdrive in BlazBlue, etc., etc. All of these add so much to your arsenal to further expand the possibilities of what you can do, the only true limit being your imagination, and maybe some game-specific mechanics. Anyway, as you come to understand all of this, eventually you'll reach the third and possibly final barrier to entry, holding that L. There are going to be a number of instances where you come across a player, or multiple, that will give you a hard time. And if you're anything like me, you're going to challenge them over and over and over again. They're going to show you the cracks in your armor, so to speak. The most important thing is to not let it get to you. You have to look back on those games with a calm head and try to examine what it is that you might have been doing wrong so that you can use that to improve. It might feel like a drag at first, but it'll all be worth it when you come back out of the lab and apply the new knowledge to a real match. It's been days, weeks, months even. You've been slaving over a hot fight stick, or pad if you're one of those people, for ages without any food or water. The only thing keeping you together is the poor strength of the paperclips and glue that is the idea that you're slowly improving. But wait, what's that? I see a light of some sort. No way. It can't be. Look at it. You did that. You decided that you didn't feel like being your average run-of-the-mill scrub and have now successfully cyberbullied someone enough to probably make them drop this game for a good while. Feels good, doesn't it? Seeing the fruits of your labor. You pulled off that combo that you've been labbing for ages. You saw into your opponent's mind and hard-bodied their next move. You once again challenged those that gave you trouble before, and have now not only shown to them but yourself that you are, in fact, the hottest thing since sliced Hot Pockets fresh out the microwave. Truly a feeling better than sex, and I totally know what that feels like. So you're probably wondering why I made this an entirely different segment instead of just adding it to the difficulty portion. Well, that's because I believe that this area is really easy to have a blurred perspective on, due to not fully understanding character archetypes, as well as having varying viewpoints after one has reached a certain skill level. Now keep in mind, I'm not speaking for everyone when I say this. There are a lot of instances where people will get steamrolled by one or two characters and then proceed to whine about said characters being busted, or about their character being dumpster tier. In modern fighting games, it's really hard to have a legitimately broken character in both senses of the word. If a character looks to be stupidly good at any particular job, then you have to think, what are the character's weaknesses, and can someone capitalize on those weaknesses to justify their strengths? If said character's jobs just so happen to capitalize on your character's weaknesses, then you just have a bad matchup. Fighting them might be a bit of an uphill battle, but you're not likely to get hit with a borderline unwinnable matchup like you could have in the olden days. There are plenty of people that are newly getting into fighting games that you might be able to learn alongside, and a metric ass ton of full-fledged veterans that are definitely willing to help new players learn things, like common fighting game terminology, info on certain matchups, or just general game knowledge. The only thing that you might have to watch out for are your standard toxic players that show up in any skill-based game. Some individuals are gonna sauce on you and think it's the funniest thing in the Milky Way, and it is, but not when you're the butt of the joke. Just brush it off and tell yourself that there's some sweaty tryhard or something. That'll work to chill you out. Well, there you have it. Now pick up a fighting game. Any fighting game. That's a lie. Pick up BlazBlue. Only BlazBlue. I only did this so that I could get you to play BlazBlue. So come on, let's go. We're starting up right now.